A Russian soldier made a desperate attempt to fight off an incoming FPV drone of Ukraine's 414th UAV Brigade, Hungarian Birds. He fired his rifle, threw a grenade, and even discarded his weapon in a frantic effort to escape. The soldier made sudden maneuvers, but the Ukrainian drone operator maintained pursuit, ultimately neutralizing him after a relentless chase. This engagement once again demonstrates how FPV drones dominate close combat, leaving no safe options for Russian infantry on the front lines. Amidst the ruins of abandoned buildings, a lone Russian soldier was searching the area. Meanwhile, an FPV one-way attack drone had already been launched, with the operator swiftly directing it toward the Russian infantryman's last known location. As the drone released its payload near the area, the opposing soldier panicked and attempted to flee. However, it was too late. The FPV drone locked onto its target, performing sharp maneuvers as it closed in rapidly. Just before escaping, the soldier made a desperate attempt to evade, but it resulted in a powerful explosion. In the Donbass region, 2 Russian soldiers were seen attempting to transport ammunition using a wheelbarrow. An FPV drone operated by the Ukrainian armed forces was quickly deployed in response. Upon spotting the incoming drone, the soldiers immediately retreated from the area. The drone conducted a targeted strike on the ammunition-loaded wheelbarrow, resulting in a powerful explosion. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones identified a Russian unmanned aerial vehicle control center. Shortly thereafter, Ukrainian air forces launched a precise strike on the target. The munitions deployed by the air forces accurately impacted the location, resulting in the complete destruction of the control center. Thanks to the effective efforts of the reconnaissance units, the adversaries' attempts to conduct further drone operations have also been disrupted. While on the move, Ukrainian soldiers spotted an incoming FPV drone approaching their vehicle. They quickly exited, and no one was harmed. The vehicle itself also appeared to avoid damage. The drone crashed to the right and behind without impact. It is possible that an electronic warfare system installed on the vehicle disrupted the drone signal or video feed, causing it to lose control. A Russian armored infantry carrier was targeted by Ukrainian FPV drones while transporting soldiers to Russian positions. Soldiers, seeking cover from explosives deployed by the drones, ran toward trenches for safety. The attack continued, and the armored vehicle was destroyed. The soldiers were left without a secure means of retreat, facing a critical and vulnerable situation. Ukrainian 91st Anti-Tank Battalion soldiers were inside a house under siege by Russian forces. Russian troops surrounded the house and launched an assault, but they were met with a counteraction. A Ukrainian FPV drone, supported by Ukrainian artillery, intervened to protect the soldiers. Confronted with this response, the attacking Russian forces withdrew. First came the FPV drone operation, followed by artillery fire targeting the Russian forces with 155mm munitions. The coordinated response forced the Russian soldiers to withdraw. After the major operation launched by Ukrainian forces against Russian military zones, Russian troops responded with a heavy assault on Ukrainian positions. Incendiary munitions were deployed against a Ukrainian trench, but Ukrainian soldiers quickly reorganized and held their ground with determination. The Russian attack ultimately failed, with losses reported among their ranks. This moment once again highlights the strength, resilience, and determination of the Ukrainian defenders in the face of Russian aggression. The Ukrainian 53rd Mechanized Brigade conducted an FPV drone operation targeting the logistics route of Russian forces near the city of Kremenna in the Luhansk region. The route was reinforced with wire mesh as a precaution against drone operations, but it proved insufficient. The operation successfully struck a vehicle carrying 2 Russian soldiers, resulting in its destruction. 2 Russian soldiers were neutralized. You can support us by liking and commenting on the video. In the Zaporizhia region of Ukraine, 4 Russian soldiers attempted to take shelter in an abandoned house, unaware they were being watched. Ukrainian forces launched a mortar strike just as the troops tried to enter, destroying the building instantly. The surviving soldiers tried to flee and find cover elsewhere, but every move was tracked. Wherever they went, Ukrainian fire followed. In the end, none of the Russian soldiers survived. 2 Russian soldiers were spotted east of the village of Tski in the Donetsk region. They managed to reach Ukrainian positions and took cover inside a bunker. Without hesitation, 2 Ukrainian infantrymen launched an offensive. They opened fire on the position and hurled grenades into the bunker, forcing the enemy into a deadly trap. 1 Russian soldier was eliminated in the assault, while the other was captured alive. However, extracting the prisoner from the front lines posed a serious risk to Ukrainian soldiers. To ensure safety, his hands were tied, and he was ordered to walk alone toward the rear. All of this was carried out under the strict surveillance of a UAV operator, with a drone equipped with a loudspeaker guiding the captive step by step. The Russians, realizing that one of their own had surrendered, opened artillery fire directly on him. Despite being injured, the prisoner continued moving forward. With his hands tied, he followed the guiding drone overhead, step by step. His journey was long and grueling, more than 2 kilometers covered in nearly 3 hours, before another Ukrainian soldier finally reached him. Exhausted, wounded, but alive, the Russian captive eventually made it safely to Ukrainian positions. A Russian D-30 howitzer was positioned in a well-selected area, having fired at Ukrainian positions for an extended period. Ukrainian forces identified its location and launched an attack on the position, where Russian soldiers were also present. The main objective was to neutralize the howitzer, and with several air-launched munitions, the Russian position was struck. The howitzer was destroyed in the attack, leaving the soldiers with no chance to take cover. A Ukrainian FPV drone targeted an abandoned house where 13 Russian soldiers were stationed. After the explosion, the soldiers exited and moved into a neighboring house. Misjudging the situation, they believed relocating would protect them, but Ukrainian forces struck the second house with a more powerful explosive, neutralizing the threat. Only one of the 13 Russian soldiers survived the attack, managing to crawl out from beneath the rubble. A Russian soldier moving through the ruins was spotted by Ukrainian FPV drone operators. As the drone closed in, the Russian soldier panicked and began to run. However, in the open terrain, his chances of escape were minimal. The drone struck an obstacle, but fragments from the explosion ricocheted and impacted the Russian soldier, leaving him incapacitated despite his attempt to flee.